coup d'etat, sparking a civil war which has seen nearly 2.5 million South Sudanese flee the country in the last 4 years alone. More than 114,000 have arrived in Kenya, and approximately 108,000 of them have sought refuge at the Kakuma refugee camp in Turkana County. KTN's George Maringa spent some time in Kakuma and now brings us the story of life in the refugee camp 5 years later.
County number 23, Turkana, is located at the northwestern region of Kenya and is home to the Kakuma refugee camp and Kalobeye integrated settlement. It's 9 a.m. and we begin our descent to the Kakuma airstrip. Tents and iron sheet houses reflect the hot sunlight, with temperatures reaching up to 36 degrees Celsius. This is where over 108,000 refugees and asylum seekers call home. 17-year-old Margaret Moloyang arrived here with her 4 siblings from South Sudan. It took her 3 days to reach the Kenyan border.
Our journey was not fine. Reaching on the way, those on the bus come and attack us. They said they need of money, and we told them we don't have money. They said, if you say you don't have money, we shall kill you or we shall slaughter you like animals.
80% of those that have fled South Sudan are women and children, and nearly 56% of them are under 18. Margaret, a class 7 pupil at Kalobeye Primary School, is just an example of the child-headed homes in Kakuma, and like others, she has no whereabouts of her parents.
I don't know this time whether I will get a fine result in KCV. I don't think so, because I have a lot to do, and I'm busy anytime, and I'm the only one bigger than them. I will be the one to prepare for them food, control them, washing their clothes, ironing, not their uniform even. Only at night, this is when I will iron their uniform, washing them.
At Kalobeye Primary School, the pupils try to quench their thirst for knowledge, and a higher number of them have been disoriented by the conflict back home. According to the principal, education here is not your ordinary due to the demographics and age differences.
When they first came, most of them were parents. Some of them are parents, even up to now. In fact, I have a parent, around 2 of them in these classes, of around 45, 46 years.
Apart from education, the pupils here can afford to smile. And mealtime requires more than just an appetite.
The personnel we have are not all trained personnel. The only trained personnel we have here that are trained at the curriculum of Kenya, the system of Kenya, we are only 4 nationals, including myself. Now the rest are incentive. Most of them with education either South Sudan, in Somalia, Burundi, Congo.
The Kakuma Reception Center is a temporary abode for asylum seekers before they are transported to the settlement scheme. For 37-year-old Isaac Mayang, the pain of the war is evident. All he has is his 5 children. His wife Joyce died of high blood pressure after she was unable to access medical attention back home. Isaac worked with the Ministry of Finance in Juba before the war escalated, forcing him to flee with his children.
Life became very difficult. There was war throughout the country. There were also tribal clashes. Even where I came from, there were tribal clashes, which will not allow someone who is ready to go and look for food for the family. You are not free to move around.
Due to the situation back home, he says that he's not willing to go back.
I don't have any job in Juba. I cannot lean on anybody in Juba. You live in fear, even going for a short call, just buying your house is a problem.
31-year-old Achieng Care suckles her newborn daughter at a corner inside the reception center where she recently gave birth. It took her 4 days to get here, and she was in her final days of pregnancy, a journey that took a toll on her and her 2 other children. She was forced to leave her sick husband behind.
She said she has no intention of going back to South Sudan. She has surrendered herself and her children in the hand of UN so that she could cater for her children.
As a mother with a newborn, life has not been easy since she left home. The effects of the war, she says, pose a big blow for the vulnerable.
He said, a mother like me, will really want to pass the message to South Sudanese that war will not do anything good to us.
Every 2 weeks, the Kakuma Reception Center receives between 300 to 500 refugees from South Sudan, and Juba is just 500 kilometers away from here. And this is the place where Isaac and others call home for at least 2 weeks before they are moved to the settlement schemes. But the question remains, will the South Sudan crisis come to an end? When dusk sets and morning comes, the refugees and asylum seekers continue to count one more day in foreign land. The Turkana community has hosted and integrated with the hundreds of thousands of refugees who live with them as they wait for resolution of the conflict back home.
Most of them have been here for more than 15 years, others 20 years, because of the protracted situations back home. So we in Kakuma here in the community, we welcome them. We want to them to live here with dignity, to be integrated with the host community.
Kenya is not the only host country for refugees and asylum seekers. Countries such as Uganda play host to over 1.2 million South Sudanese refugees. The United Nations estimates that the current population of South Sudan stands at 13 million people. The refugees may be welcome in their host countries, but still more funding is required due to the increasing numbers seeking asylum in other countries.
Right now, 2.4 million refugees in neighboring countries, including Kenya, a number that we project will rise above 3 million by the end of the year if the conflict does not stop.
Children go to school oblivious of the situation they find themselves in. They may not understand the effects of the war back home, but their parents hope that someday they will be the light at the end of the tunnel and at least go back to the place they call home. Kakuma refugee camp is divided into Kakuma 1, 2, 3, and 4, and right now we are at Kakuma 4 camp, and just behind you can see the growing population with the kids going to school, and this speaks of the great risk of overpopulation in the coming years. George Maringa, KTN News, at the Kakuma refugee camp in Turkana County.